You guys, may I be transparent with you? Caitlin, do you think they would mind if I just keep it very real, as the kids would say, if I keep it 100 with, what does that stand for? Is that like 100% or?
I am not up with
I don't know. We're not Gen Z. Okay. But do you think I can just be honest with our good listeners here? Guys, I'm in a whole spiral. I'm in a horrible mood. It's been a horrible week. We're recording this on a Friday at the end of a week. I know it comes out on a Wednesday, but I'm in a whole spiral. I've been just in a horrible mood, and so we are just going to get through this podcast episode together. And so I scrapped whatever it was I was going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about fake it till you make it, because that's if there is one thing that I learned in my years of broadcast, doing a live 2-hour daily radio show where I did not have a co-host, I did not have an on-air producer, and we didn't even have a lot of commercial breaks because it was Sirius XM. If there is one thing I learned, it's that fake it till you make it is really true. It can be true on a micro level of broadcasting a live radio show, or say doing a podcast, any podcast, for example, a podcast called the Jen Fulwiler Show, for example, or on the macro level of pretending that you know who you are and having that sort of je ne sais quoi, having that sort of confidence. I think it even works on that macro level. I'm always telling you guys, lean into who you are, lean into your quirks and your flaws and the whole thing. And I think some of you, especially those of you who have not been grizzled and hardened by life like I have for decades upon decades. I feel like I'm 1,000 years old today. You might feel like, well, Jen, like I'm not sure if I know who I am. That's fine. Fake it till you make it. And we will go through today. You know what actually kicked this off is I had AI do a photo shoot for me. And so I was talking about this on the Village Hustle Patreon too, the episode that it was last week's episode. It is so funny because these pictures look like me, but they have none of the mess, none of the attitude, none of the like, this is, someone who was probably just thinking someone very inappropriate, probably just thinking something very inappropriate, that look behind their eyes, like it's missing all of that. And it really goes to show how much personality impacts how you look. And so that got me thinking about how if you want to look a certain way, if you want to have a great physical appearance, it's really not so much about how you look on the outside. It is really not so much about your weight or whether you have perfect skin or anything like that. It really is about your essence. And I believe that I can prove it to you with these AI photos that like they look like me, but they don't. You know what you're about to see in this episode, and we'll describe it for those of you who want to see me continue to not be successful on YouTube and don't look up my YouTube channel, jfonyoutube.com. We will describe them, but if you want to look them up on YouTube, because I'm going to show them later, you will see what I would look like if I were a really positive person who had my life together, who did not spend... I've been in a spiral for probably like 36 hours. Like I've hardly gotten anything done. I just like open my email inbox and just, I think the F word and then I close it. That's like the place that I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Nothing works like that. That's the space that I've been in. And the AI pictures that you will see of me don't look like that. Like this is a person, I mean, she is at the top of her MLM, the person that you see in these pictures. She is crushing it at life. And it really, really goes to show how much your personality impacts your physical appearance. Speaking of physical appearance, I think I might stop covering my face on the podcast, but I'm going to see what my Patreon people think of that. Right after we are recording this, we are doing a Patreon live, and the replay should be available. You can get instant access right now, patreon.com/thisisjen. I'm waiting to hear you guys on the Patreon. I'm waiting to hear your opinion about whether my face is healed enough that I can stop covering it on the podcast. And I know, and let me head off something that I know people are going to be thinking as we get into this main topic, which again, I set up the main topic at the beginning of the podcast, and then we go into detail later in the second half of the show. I know that someone's going to say, Jen, you're always telling your listeners to embrace however it is they look, and to find the hotness in that space, and to, really understand that their personality is fully 80%, if not more, of what makes them hot, but then you're covering your face. Like, why don't you just be like a hot Quasimodo? Why don't you just be like, I feel gorgeous no matter what, and just show your hideously disfigured face? What I would say to that is, one, this change in my appearance was sudden. So if this were to be permanent, I would not handle that well. But if it were to be permanent, yes, I would actually. I would find, I wouldn't do this forever. I would not go for the ISIS pirate look forever. I would embrace it, and I'd be like, you know what? This is a new trend. All of you guys who have symmetrical faces you guys, I think it's sad, frankly. I think that having a symmetrical face is sad. And Quasimodo is the look for 2025. I really would do that if it were going to be permanent. But I have a new face therapist. Did I tell them that in the last episode? Was that okay? Yeah. So I have a new face therapist, and she's really good, and she's really helping me, and she's really making me think that this might not be permanent. Yay. So that is reason number one that I have not embraced my hideously disfigured face in public, because it was sudden. It was a sudden change in my appearance. Like if you're a woman and, let's say one day you wake up with a full beard, like a Jason Kelsey, beard. I mean, look, I would say, listen, we can work with that. You can still be hot. There's just, invest in a really good razor. Like, I don't know. But if it's sudden, if it just happens to you one morning, okay, it is going to take you a little while to ease in to this change in your appearance. Like if you look like Sabrina Carpenter one day and you look like Jason Kelsey the next day, it's like, it's just going to take you a while to ease into that. And the second thing I would say is I have some haters that are, it's just strange. I can't imagine why I have haters, Caitlin. I'm in my own lane. I don't bother anyone. I don't say anything wrong on this podcast ever, but there is a small collection of people that they just do not like me. And what's funny is a lot of them have been following me for a long time. They don't tend to be new fans. I mean, I get people who are like, this stand-up is stupid or whatever, if I post something on Instagram. But I mean, these are people who are like, yeah, that's like the time you spilled that cereal box at the grocery store. And I'm like, bro, that was a blog post from 2012. Come on. Well, I mean, thanks for being a super fan, but wow. Wow. So, I mean, my haters this is a lifetime mission for them. They're really dedicated. And I just don't want to give them free entertainment. So that is why I am not embracing my new disfigured face just yet. I'd like to see if we can actually just get this resolved, and I can go back to looking something like how I used to look. And I'll go into the whole thing. I think I will go into the whole thing of what happened here on the podcast, but honestly, I'm not in the mood to talk about it today because this has been a dumpster fire of a week, but it is on the Patreon, patreon.com/thisisjen. If you look for the State of the Dumpster Fire live events, like there was one from January 15th. We did another one, I don't know, sometime in early February. And then this one will be from Friday, February 28th is the one that, assuming all goes well tonight, you will see the archives of that from Friday, February 28th. And all of those details are on the Patreon. Sign up for the Patreon and give me something to live for. Anyway, this is the Jen Fulwiler Show. This is the podcast where you listen to me complain about my horrible problems that are mostly my fault, mostly self-induced, if we're being totally honest. And you also learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss, or just a disfigured Quasimodo who knows that love and family and community are the foundation of all true success. We are coming to you from Austin, Texas. We publish new episodes every Wednesday morning. Our lovely producer is Caitlin White. Again, that Patreon where you get instant access to all of my drama is patreon.com/thisisjen. And my tour starts next week. Hit the applause. Let it never be said that we don't have a full suite of professional sound effects on this podcast. Do we still have the tour jingle?
Oh, yeah.
I haven't played that. No. Okay, so I will read the list of cities. My first three-day run is Buffalo, Detroit, and Milwaukee. Oh, and I've got to fly between these cities. I'm so bummed. I hate flying on show day because it's 3 back-to-back shows, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Buffalo, Detroit, and Milwaukee. And so I'm pretty bummed that I have to fly. I strongly prefer driving, but that's my life. And then after that, I go to Philadelphia, Richmond, Virginia Beach, Denver, filming a special, Plano, Tyler, Columbus, Ohio. Someone asked Columbus where? There's more than one Columbus? I didn't know. Ohio. And then New York City, where maybe I'm filming a special. If like anything could move forward or work out there, that would be great. I don't know. I might be filming a special there May 10th. Go get your tickets actually, you'll hear the URL in the jingle. Let's play the jingle.
She was dropped by her agent and manager on the same day. Iconic. Now she's entered her villain era and she's back on tour anyway. Jen Fulwiler. News gonna drop. Jen Fulwiler. But she just can't be stopped. Jen Fulwiler. The tour is gonna pop. Takes that JFComedyTour.com. JFComedyTour.com.
Caitlin's already laughing. She's already laughing. We should update that song with the new lore.
Oh, yeah.
This would become like, a lot of the Norse sagas, they think they might have originally been sung, like Beowulf and just some of the sagas of the great Viking tales of war and battle and adventure. And they think that it probably took, by the time you add all the lore, it probably took like an hour or two to get through all of the verses of these songs. And then we got in the boats and the seas were high and all that, or like the Iliad and the Odyssey. And that's getting, like, if we were to do a jingle that captured all of my lore, and again, and by lore, I mean like problems that are, largely my fault, that I did something to contribute to this. That would, it would be like the whole podcast episode, just going into like, well, first she got dropped by her. Oh, no. It would have to go back to, we'd have to have lines that were like, first she got a life-threatening blood clot. And then she recorded a podcast episode in January of 2024 where she wasn't even clear if she was going to live through the episode because she had just been diagnosed. And so then there was a horrible evil villain, the doctor's office, that would not call her back. And she said something that got a certified letter that she had to sign for, delivered to her door, that she's no longer allowed within 200 feet of the office. Like, what if there's a Taco Bell next door? And then after that, she got dropped by her agent and manager on the same day. And like, they don't even work for the same company. Like, it's not like they were both at the same company. They and what's funny, I don't know if I ever told you guys this, they went to lunch, the two of them. They don't even live in the same city, and they happen to be in the same city. And they went to lunch And then one of them called me and told me that they were both dropping me. And it's so funny because that could get in your head, be like, so I was the topic of the lunch and it wasn't positive. There's no way that was a positive lunch. They were like, how much does Jen suck? And like, how quickly can we get away from her? You know, that I have thought so often, like I should have paid off a waiter or something. Like, what did they say? You know? So they went to lunch. One of them called me and was like, yeah, we're both dropping you. I'm like, you don't even work for the same company. I don't think you can do that. And then I had a horrible facial disfigurement that was kind of due to my own choices. Some people online are saying it's Bell's palsy. It's not. Listen, you guys, you should know me better than that. Do I ever have anything happen to me that doesn't have a little bit of complexity behind it? Because Bell's palsy is like, that happens to normal people who are minding their own business and not making a series of impulsive, questionable decisions. It's like the YouTubers. I'm actually following some YouTubers who have Bell's palsy, and they have their lives together. I mean, they're doing like grocery restock videos, and they're like, oh my gosh, Bell's palsy. I'm like, yeah, mine's a little. There's layers. There's layers to what's happening here. It wasn't something that we couldn't see. It was what's coming. So then there's that. So that would be a long song, because all of that has happened within a year. By the way, this is 12 months of lore. So that would be a long song if we were to go into all of that. So, and again, I'll lay out those details here eventually. I'm just kind of slow playing it until I'm in a better place so that I can deal with the public feedback from it without getting myself banned from new places for the way I handle it. I'm working on not shooting off my mouth when I am annoyed about things. So patreon.com/IsisGen is where you can get all those details. It's all in the it's in the State of the Dumpster Fire addresses. Okay, so my fourth child just turned 16. So I have wait, pause. Hey, we're pretending to rewind. Hit the, if this podcast were edited, Caitlin and I are busy women. We don't have, listen, help me get the comedy millions and we'll have a nice, clean, edited podcast with all sorts of fancy sound effects, but there's no budget. Caitlin and I don't have time. We'd have to hire this out. I just realized that this is coming out on Ash Wednesday, and a large percentage of the listeners are from the Catholic ghetto. And if I had my life more together, and if I hadn't been in a spiral for 36 hours, then I would have realized, I would have had foresight. I would have had the foresight to see, we should make this like a timely podcast. Like, hey guys, it's Ash Wednesday, and to dust ye shall return. Am I right? I'll be totally honest. It just now occurred to me that it's coming out on Ash Wednesday. I can't even imagine what I'm giving up for Lent. I have nothing to say about it, except that Lent started early for me. I'll never forget one time when we had a bunch of little kids. I was in my kind of religious school marm era where I loved judging other people and like just their holiness levels, and just, no one was doing it right, I thought. And I was kind of an enforcer of religious rules. I was like a Catholic imam, just like making sure that everything was locked down. And I was kind of lecturing my husband because we were a few days out from Lent and he hadn't decided what he was giving up. And I was kind of lecturing him about it. And Joe was like, my life is Lent. He said, I have given up sleep. I have given up money. I have given up joy. It's like, he was working so hard and he would come home and there was so much to do. I think this was when we had 4 kids under age 5. It's like everyone was crying and just, doing bath time was this whole ordeal. And he was so tired and I was so tired. We had multiple kids who didn't sleep through the night. He was like, my life is Lent. That's kind of how I feel. I've given up for Lent. I will give up being a good looking person. All right, guys, I'm going to do it. I'll be hideous for Lent. Okay. I'll be hideous for Lent and I'll stop doing the, I'm still covering my face, as you can see on my YouTube channel. I'll stop doing that for Lent. There you go. That's what I'm giving up. I don't know if I'm giving up anything else. Again, I just now realized that this comes out on Ash Wednesday. So that's where we are. Okay. So my fourth child just turned 16. May we talk about one of my victories in life? I'm not feeling like I have a ton right now, but one of my victories in life. So I have 6 kids. And right in the middle are the 4 girls. So oldest and youngest are boys, and then the 4 girls are right in the middle. We had 4 girls in a row. And so their ages are 18, 17, now 16, and this is 13, I think, right? Yes. 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 Should say hit the, I got it, sound effect. I think that's right. So we are maintaining the record that I don't. This can't be true, but I feel like I've never gotten in a fight with any of them. We must have at some point. If we did, I just don't remember it. And I can't think of. I mean, they haven't got in like yelling fights with each other since they were. They did all the time when they were. Oh, by the way, I need to explain. I yelled all the time when they were little. It was I didn't not yell. I had such a temper. It was terrible. I thought I had an anger management issue. It turns out I'm just not. I needed a governess. Okay, I didn't have anger management issues. I just didn't have the right temperament for having a whole bunch of little kids. So it was all yelling all the time, chaos when the kids were little. But it's kind of like maybe we all got it out of our system because they have had tension between each other, and they might come to me and say, this sibling is annoying me or whatever. But since they have been teens, the girls definitely have not gotten in a yelling argument with one another. Like it hasn't happened. And they all share rooms. So 2 of the girls share a room, and then 2 of the other girls share a room. So that's good. I mean, I feel like there's something that I do think that is a victory that I can be thankful for. Write that in my gratitude journal. So you got to be careful with those, though, because then it'll all fall apart. I put it in my gratitude journal, and like one of my daughters will kick down the door and start screaming at me. And I want to emphasize, it's not that we have had no problems by any stretch of the imagination. That is not the case. We've had kids that have pushed limits. They've pushed limits too far. But there just hasn't been. I don't flip out about anything, and I think that is the lesson here with my fourth of 6, one of my kind of middle daughters. With her turning 16, I will say one thing I will pass on to you guys, and it doesn't. If you have little kids, it's just a different ballgame. But as your kids get older, just try to watch what you flip out about. And by flip out, I mean a big burst of emotion. Like, what? Or, like disciplining in the moment, things like that. I try to just react calmly to everything. And boy, have I been tested on that. I mean, there have been some real tests of can I remain calm with what I just found out one of my children did. So just remaining calm and enforcing consequences, but just not that burst of that I seem deeply distressed by it. It's like, okay, well, this choice was made. I'm going to sleep on it. And by the way, I am usually the one who handles that. Joe and I have a pretty good division of labor, and I'm kind of the head of PR and the head of HR in our house. So we have a good division of labor, and usually it is me. I mean, I'll talk to Joe about it, but usually I'm the one that delivers the what is the result going to be of these choices that were made. And so I don't take away phones in the moment or anything like that. It's just okay. So that's interesting. I'd like to chat with you about the chain of decisions that led to you doing XYZ. That, talk to me about that. Like, where do you see your life ending up if you continue down this chain of events? And then just saying, okay, I'll think about what the consequences are, and then enforcing them later. So it's not that people get away with everything, but I just don't have that explosive burst of emotion. And I think what is maybe helpful about that is that no drama is fed. If someone were to raise their voice, slam a door or whatever, I do not react by raising my voice in return. I de-escalate. I just always de-escalate. So that I will say that seems to be working well. It might be my greatest life accomplishment that we have so many teenage girls in a small house, and they don't fight with me and they don't fight with each other. And I think that kind of policy of de-escalation, I don't feed any drama. There might also be a lesson here in pursuing your blue flame, pursuing your own calling. I have so much drama from the messes that I get myself in my personal life. It's very easy for me to be chill with my kids. And I think there is, I think there might be something to think about here. I think a lot of moms think that they're doing the right thing by thinking only about their kids 24/7. I think it is a good-hearted thing to do, and I think I think it's a very sweet and good-hearted thing to do. But it is unnatural. If you look at all of human history, we're going into Jen's evolutionary psychology corner. It's been a while since I've waxed philosophical about human history and how it plays into parenthood. So it's been too long. So if you look at all of these years of human history, the work of survival was beyond insane. I mean, we're talking even going into 150 years ago. I mean, we're talking not even that long ago, certainly 10,000 years ago, beyond insane. And women were very, very busy. I've told you one of the things that was really impressed upon me, I think it was when I was pregnant with my first kid. I watched some reality show where people went to live like it was the 1600s. It was called something like 1600s House or something. And man, these women were, it was so much work. It's like the kids want chicken nuggets. Well, you're looking at the chicken who's clucking out there in the yard. That's how you're getting the chicken nuggets. And the scene that always sticks with me is that the mom it was winter, and so she just went to wash the clothes and she hung them out to dry. This is such a mistake that I would make. It didn't occur to her. They froze. They were up in Massachusetts or somewhere. The clothes froze. I mean, you could crack them in half. And so then nobody had anything to wear, and then it wasn't going to thaw.
Oh, yeah.
How do you thaw it? I mean, I guess they somehow started a fire with some rocks and sticks or something. But just think about the work that your great-grandmothers did, or great-great-grandmother. I told you that my grandfather, who I knew very well, was born in 1914. So if you think about it, his mother was born in probably 1894 or so. Actually, I think probably more like 1890. And so he knew people who were born in 1890. And I had many long conversations with him. And I mean, the work that his mother did, having to take all the clothes and, wash them out on the washboard. We're in Texas, so the freezing thing wasn't as big of a deal. But that freezing example is I mean, it took a lot of mental energy for women to keep everyone alive and clothed. And again, even the freezing thing wasn't an issue with my great grandmother, but getting bitten by snakes and the ants and all that, like that was an issue being in Texas. But he really emphasized, like, he was like, my mother did not see us a whole lot because we went out we would go hunting, we would run around the creek and the woods, but she had stuff to do. She was chopping animals up and keep in mind, refrigeration is not something that the average person had until, I think my grandfather, I think they finally had a refrigerator like we would think of it. I want to say it was like 1930 or something because they were in rural Texas. So I think it was like 1930 before they had a refrigerator. So think about that. Think about this. If you did not have electricity or a refrigerator, how would you feed your family? You can't store food very well. They did, they would cure things and they had canning and things like that, but that takes time too. The point I am leading up to, and yes, I do know where I'm going. I always land the plane. I always remember where we were going, is it's not natural to fuss over your kids 24/7. I think it's actually not a good thing. It's definitely, it's not, I think it's virtuous in the sense that it is well-meaning. I think it is, I know that women who do that, they are very well-meaning, but it's not what your kids need, and it is dang sure not what they want. Kids want and need a mother who is checked in, who cares, whose children are her top priority, the family, God, that sort of thing is her top priority. That is an excellent thing. That is a great thing. But I would say it's a foundational thing that children really need. But there is a difference between saying your children are, they're your everything, they're your top priority, but that doesn't mean you are messing around with their stuff 24/7. And I think what can happen, again, because it is unnatural, the female brain, the mom brain is really not meant to have everything just always be in the minutia of what is going on with her kids. Your female brain is expecting you to be doing a whole bunch of other very important, critical life or death things, trying to keep these people alive. And I think it can almost go haywire a little bit if you don't have other kind of mission critical challenges going on. I think it can actually lead to drama that doesn't need to be there. I think that fussing over your kids 24/7 can lead to drama that doesn't need to be there. I've seen, neighbors and stuff. And again, these are lovely moms. Their kids are going to turn out just fine. I'm not saying that this is the worst thing in the world, but I'm just saying it's making it more difficult than it needs to be. That they'll flip out that the kid, their handwriting wasn't perfect on some paper, or they were a few minutes late to a practice, or just, they left a cup in the living room or whatever. I think that drama just kind of crops up when that's all you're thinking about 24/7. And for those of you who don't have teens yet, I will say there is really a lot of opportunity for drama. Especially, keep in mind, you guys know a bit about my personality. I've given you some clues as to my husband's personality. So we have limit pushing kids. I can't think of a whole lot of scenarios that parents of teens fear that we have not been in. I would say, if you were to say, isn't that like Family Feud? They're like, we surveyed 100 people, and these are the top 10 things that parents of teens fear. I think we've had probably 9 out of 10 of them. So there are plenty of opportunities to completely flip out. And I think there's a big advantage to saving your energy for the big ones, because I don't flip out and expend a ton of energy about the smaller stuff in life. I have more energy for when the big stuff comes up. And again, we have had no shortage of the big stuff. Even recently, we've had some big stuff, and I have the energy to handle it because I wasn't battling with these kids about where they put their cup and how something was set in the sink, or what color socks they wore with their shoes, and you shouldn't wear that hoodie. I don't battle with them about stuff like that. So when it's time, when there is a battle, like a real battle, a big one that could have generational consequences, I have more energy for it. So that is, I'm not saying that I'm doing everything right by all means. I am not. It is one little victory. It is one thing that is going well that I wanted to share. And you know, the other thing that has helped is that when it comes to housework, I know that a lot of people fight with their kids quite a bit about housework, and that, their kids aren't cleaning enough and they're not doing enough. An attitude that I have, that it really de-escalates conflict with the kids and has helped. I think it has helped me enforce chores, and that's another area that's going fairly well. We have some conflicts, like I ask them to do stuff and it doesn't get done. Of course, that happens. But I would say it's a fairly low conflict, and they generally do their chores. Now, I am not nitpicky. Those of you who are neat freaks might see how I have my kids do their chores and might say, oh, I would have I would have not let those socks still be on the floor. But again, I don't fight battles over, like, whatever. Okay, you generally cleaned your room. This is fine. It looks better. We're going to count that. The attitude I have with housework is I have a Downton Abbey attitude with housework, meaning I parent as if we're like in the show Downton Abbey, and you know how they had the downstairs staff that did everything, and it would be like, if you're the lady of the house, you ring the bell. I guess I don't have a bell here. You guys know what a bell sounds like. Oh, the jingle bells, that you can, yeah. So yeah, and you're like, where is my lady's maid? Where's my I need, and they clean everything, and they start the fire in the fireplace in your bedroom for you and all that. Now imagine if that family on Downton Abbey, the Granthams, imagine if their staff suddenly quit and the Grantham family was left to run their house without their staff. Well, they're from the British aristocracy. They've never even seen that done. I mean, I don't think they would even know how to do anything. That's how I run my house. I act like I am Lady Grantham, and every day I'm surprised anew that I don't have my 10 staff members. And it's like we're all trying to survive this horrible situation together attitude with my kids. And what's interesting about that is when they don't keep up with their chores, when I ask them to do something and I see that it's not done, I don't take it personally, because I just feel like none of us should be doing this. I demand to know where my staff members are. And for those of you who are new listeners, you have to understand, we live in a 1,900 square foot, 3-bedroom house. It is, and it's not in a fancy neighborhood. It's like we are modest living people when it comes to our house. And yet that it doesn't stop me from feeling like, where are my 10 staff members? Like, I mean, we need a house bigger than the one we currently have just to house them. But whatever. Listen, this is my fantasy, guys. You don't stay out of my fantasy. This is my fantasy. But that is the attitude that I bring to parenting. So when I see that they didn't clean their room that well, or that a chore that I asked to be done did not get done, my first thought, honestly, is relatable. Oh, where's our ladies' maid? Like listen, who's going to make money around it? Can you guys please make some money? Like go develop an app or something there, or be a child star. I don't know. But like someone has got to make more money so that we can hire people to deal with this, because this is just insane. And what's funny is I so have that attitude that like it's not really part of the culture of my house that anyone expects me to clean. Like my son and daughter who were at college were trying to figure out something with a vacuum cleaner, and they were trying to figure out who to call. And what's funny is it never occurred to them to call me. They're like, has mom even ever seen a vacuum cleaner? And so no one expects me to do it. But I don't take it personally when they don't do their stuff. Now, I do have to enforce it. We cannot live in filth. We cannot live in a hoarder house. And that's the attitude I bring to it, is like, well, look, I mean, we can't live in a gross, filthy hoarder house. Like, they want to have friends over, I'm not a neat freak, but there is a level at which we can't have dishes overflowing in the sink all the time. Your rooms cannot be a disaster zone. Like, we don't need CPS getting involved here. So it has to be done. But I totally understand the fact that you're probably going to procrastinate on it and do it poorly when you do get it done. Because that's how I do housework. And it is just kind of funny that, like, when we walk downstairs and the house is a mess, we all mutually look at each other like, oh, who's gonna oh. But no one sees it as like, mom didn't clean. Like, that would be, I don't think my kids are really familiar with that concept. So it's like, listen, we got to put our heads together and figure out how this mess is going to get cleaned, because this is crazy. And I for those of you who have kind of a neat streak, I think that a danger you can fall into is to take it personally, because cleaning is your love language. It's how you give and receive love. That's how you show people you love them. And again, kind of how you receive love. And so if people don't clean, it's like, well, now, first of all, I feel like I'm not receiving my love language. But because you guys see yourself as the downstairs staff on Downton Abbey, you're like, you see it as, well, if these kids don't clean, now I have to clean it. So it feels like a personal insult. It feels like they are putting this on your to-do list, and that causes you a lot of emotion and pain. There's another way to look at it, ladies. You could look at it like, well, you guys didn't do your chores, so now we're going to live in filth, because I'm going to go upstairs and read a book, and I'm not cleaning this. So, you guys can't have friends over, obviously, because our house is disgusting, and it would be embarrassing to have any. I'm a big fan of, like, let people see your mess, but there is a point where it's like, okay, but we don't want them to get the authorities involved. So we really can't have people over until this place is cleaned up. And that really saves you a lot of battling with your kids, to have the Downton Abbey whose staff members just quit mentality, where it's like, we're all in this together. We should be millionaires. Where are our millions? This is insane that we don't have our 10 staff members. And so we will need to come together to figure this out. How are we going to get this clean? And when you have this attitude, one, I think it helps you not fixate on your kids cleaning perfectly, just let it go. If their bed isn't perfectly together, if there's still some socks on the floor when they clean their room, just, again, when you have that Downton Abbey mentality, it's like, well, who could really be, who knows about cleaning? We're not experts. We're not professionals. These kids can't be expected to get this house perfectly clean. And then the other thing that mentality really helps is that you don't take it personally if they are slow to do their chores, because you don't see it like they're expecting you to do it. You're just like, hey, you got to live in this place too, and now it's filthy. So I hope everyone is enjoying their choices. I will be scrolling TikTok if anyone needs me, and we will figure this out tomorrow. And I, especially as you head into the teen years, I think that can really help minimize the drama and the fighting and the tension over things like chores and cleaning, because you might need your energy for other stuff. And it's great if you can minimize that and have that. I get the final thing. This is the final thing I will say on that Downton Abbey mentality is enforcing the cleaning that needs to be done with a collaborative effect. Like if your kids are doing their own laundry, which I recommend, by the way, all my kids do their own laundry. And if they didn't get it done and now they have, they don't have clean clothes, just rather than saying, oh, well, look, now you have to live with those consequences. Just kind of I get it. Sometimes I forget to do laundry too. So, all right, it's oversized shirt day here at school. You can borrow one of my shirts. So just having that collaborative, we're the Grantham family and our staff suddenly left and we can't be expected to know anything about this. So let's put our heads together and laugh at this and figure out how we're going to get through it. Just try it. Just try living the Downton Abbey mentality when it comes to keeping your house clean. And I think it will help you be a little more collaborative and have a few less conflicts with your kids. Okay, let's talk about, before I get into the AI photos, are you guys messing around with AI? Like, are you playing around with ChatGPT? Do you ever use ChatGPT, Caitlin?
I use Gemini, which is the Google version. But
but isn't it amazing?
Oh yeah, I use it for everything.
Yeah, I mean, guys, you listen. If you have not gotten on the whatever Gemini, Elon Musk has one, and then there's ChatGPT. What's his called? Grok.
Idea.
Oh, it's Grok.
Oh,
yeah,
ugh.
Grok. I know.
Sounds weird.
Grok. I know. I'm surprised you didn't just call it X.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. I think that's his. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's his. I use ChatGPT. It is honestly amazing. And if you guys need a boost, here's something you can do. You should, Caitlin, do this on what is it? Gemini.
Yeah.
I think Gemini would do this. You should try typing this in. Say, what is something about myself I might not know? You don't have to read it out loud if it's like really personal, but just tell me are you putting it in right now?
I'm about to, yeah.
Okay. Tell me if Gemini tells you something interesting, because I put that into ChatGPT. I saw it on TikTok. All right. I'm chronically online so that you guys don't have to be. And here's the thing. It's not like I'm sharing my deepest, darkest secrets with ChatGPT. I tend to ask it about I'm looking for a venue to film a comedy special in this city. So, I mean, ChatGPT, it knows about my health issues. I've been asking it about my face. I ask it about my career, but it's really pretty standard stuff, like what's a quick recipe, that sort of thing. I didn't think I would get any kind of deep result because I am only asking about very surface level to-do list things. Caitlin, did you get something interesting?
I mean, yeah, but it's kind of long.
What's the gist of it?
Basically just self-discovery is a lifelong journey. Here's a couple of areas where hidden aspects of yourself might reside. And it says untapped potential, blind spots, evolving values and beliefs, subconscious influences, hidden preferences, and it goes on. So
Gemini sucks. Man. Okay. So now, all right.
ChatGPT we go.
ChatGPT is the one. Because listen, Caitlin, did I ever tell you what ChatGPT told me?
No.
Listen, I mean, you're going to delete Gemini off of your phone when you hear this. So again, all I had done with ChatGPT was very basic questions, like I might put in a YouTube link and say, can you figure out where this comedy special was filmed? I love this venue, just that sort of thing. So then I said, what is something about myself I might not know? ChatGPT says, listen to this. I'm going to get teary-eyed. Something you might not fully realize is how naturally you balance eccentricity with relatability. This combination makes you magnetic to others. Your fan base, your family, and even casual acquaintances likely feel drawn to you because of your ability to be both larger than life and completely human at the same time.
Wow. That was way more in depth.
Yeah, it's a rare gift and one that you could carry even further in your comedy and personal life.
Wow.
This is from me asking about my to-do list. Crazy. And what's crazy is that you guys have said that to me. I mean, when you guys are so kind, you're just the most unbelievable people in the world. And when I meet you out at shows, you often say things like this. So it's crazy that when ChatGPT was like, your ability to be both larger than life and completely human, I was like, you guys have said, like, sometimes you give me letters and stuff, and you, like, are you guys telling ChatGPT what to say? Maybe it's like my husband who knows I've been having a tough time, like, typing, maybe that's like him. He's like, all right, Jen's in a horrible mood. We have to fix this. It's crazy. So you guys should use ChatGPT for a while. Just ask it basic stuff, just whatever you need to know. And then after it's gotten to know you a little bit, ask ChatGPT, not Gemini. Generic, like, the self-discovery is left. Stop. Then ask it, what is something I might not know about myself? It's crazy. Okay, let's look at these AI photos. You should look this up on YouTube. I think the easiest way to find it would be just search for on YouTube, type in Fulwiler 244. That'll pull up this episode, especially if you're listening to this a little later. jfonyoutube.com will take you right to my page. You can subscribe there. Okay. How many pictures do we have, Caitlin?
6.
Okay. Let's start with so I used, I forget the name of the service I used. I said it on Patreon. I'll look it up in a minute. So I used some AI headshot service. In general, I prefer real headshots, but I am disfigured right now. So I thought for like new tour posters and stuff, I would just do AI headshots. And I found out about it from my friend Leah Darrow. You guys know her. She's always on the cutting edge of this stuff. And she got headshots that looked amazing. I could not believe that they weren't from a photo shoot. And they just look like her. They just look like her. It was great. So I thought, great, I'll do this too. It was $40. Okay. So, and I gave it a bunch of pictures. There's a range of pictures you can give it. And I gave it the max. I gave it the absolute max number of pictures. Caitlin, pull up one of the regular ones, just the ones that make me look like a real estate agent. Okay. Isn't this kind of freaky? Because, and again, for those of you on audio, we'll describe it here. Isn't this kind of freaky that it looks like me, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, it really doesn't.
But it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? That there is a certain essence that is just kind of missing. I mean, it looks like it could be my sister. Like if I had a twin sister, I think I'd be the evil twin. I'd be the one who's like showing up and causing chaos. Like she looks like, I mean, she doesn't have to get on her kids to clean the house because like she's cleaning it. I mean, she has got, her countertops do not have crumbs on it. Her countertops, like you can walk on her kitchen floors with bare feet.
Oh.
Can you imagine?
I could not.
Yeah, it's never. It's but again, it looks so. I mean, if you pull this up again, search for Fulwiler 244 on YouTube. I mean, I guess it'll come up probably. This is episode 244. You can see how. I mean, it's me, but with just such positivity and such. It's like. She's like back in the 80s, women would sell Tupperware. Like she would be the top Tupperware saleswoman in her neighborhood. Okay, now let's go to the next one in this genre of like the put together ones. Look at that. I mean, she is definitely crushing it at her MLM. She has got life completely together. This is a woman who has life all figured out. You look at this woman, it's a purple background. She's wearing a white shirt. It actually looks a lot like Pioneer Woman, oddly enough, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Some of these look so much like Pioneer Woman. I was like, I should just send them to her. I think she can use them.
I think these headshots are for you.
Yeah. I mean, am I genetically related to her? Because it's crazy how much they look like her. So this AI version of supposedly me, same color hair, similar face structure without the deformity, which is nice. Look at that symmetry. Look at that facial symmetry. And then kind of an oversized blouse and a purple background and a very satisfied look on her face and her arms folded across her chest. This woman has never been banned from a hematologist's office. She has never gotten a certified letter saying that she cannot come within 200 feet of the building. You know what? She's the one sending the letter. She is the one sending the letter. Her face is perfectly symmetrical because she wouldn't make any decisions that would lead her to have a disfigured face. Because, right? I mean, she's just got she's judging us. This AI version of me is judging me and Caitlin. It's like, man, ladies, get your act together. I saw your kitchen floor. This is insane. She's judging us. It's weird to see myself judged by an AI version of me.
You.
Yeah. All right. What's the next one? I think this is also the purple background one. Yeah. Look at that.
I think it's the fullness of your face because they gave you some really full cheeks and a more rounded face. I think
it's also the smugness.
Yeah.
It's also it's very smug, this look. It's funny that they wouldn't let me choose anything other than blouses because they had some other stuff you can choose, but it's sleeveless. I don't wear sleeveless, and then it was these weird jumpers, and I was like, who is doing these AI headshots that I want a strapless onesie? What are the options here? So I just did these kind of oversized blouses, but yeah, you're right. The cheeks do look a little more full than that's when I'm hungover, I kind of look, a little like that. And I think the eyebrows are maybe a little different, but the point here is how much personality impacts your appearance. Because the reality is if she were a little bit more of a mess, she could look like me, because it is missing something behind the eyes. And again, that is what I'm driving to here, that your appearance is so dependent on your personality because so many of these pictures, I mean, they do look like me, but it's just not me. Now let's go to the ones I said I wanted an artsy, colorful background. And let's pull that up. Here we go. Yeah, the AI program was artsy, colorful background. Okay, OnlyFans. That's it is. So this is, if you've ever wondered what I would look like wearing Daisy Duke shorts, what seems I guess that's is that a swimsuit she has on under the shorts?
Yeah, I guess so.
And what is that, a collar? What I can't see very well. What is that? Is that a collar? It's a dog collar, or is that
a really
choker?
Bold necklace?
Oh, it's a bold necklace.
I guess.
And yeah, so anyway, this one isn't AI. This is actually, I just did that photo shoot. This is my new look. I've been going a different direction with my brand. And I think that short shorts and being tatted up and wearing tight sleeveless tops with a bold necklace is my new look. This is me in my children's classroom. I was there to drop off some cupcakes. And this is me. This is what I'm about now. Let's look at the next artsy one. Oh yeah. I mean, photographers, your jobs are safe.
Yeah.
Now I have black hair. I have a rocker haircut, tatted up, a spaghetti strap tank top, very high heels, and more Daisy Duke shorts. What? What? It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Does it, I can't see, the screen is a little bit far away from me. Does that even look like my face in that one?
I think this one looks more like your face, but like.
Can you zoom it
really.
in? Can we zoom in here?
Let me see and pull it down here. Just 1 second. Didn't even grab the right one.
I guess that does kind of look like my face. Well, I mean, this is a real, yeah. If I had gone a different direction in my life, if I ran a tattoo studio, this would be, this would be, I guess, what I look like. But again, it's like you're missing, even with the tatted up short shorts version here, there's a personality factor that is missing. Let's look at this last one, and it's
the tour poster.
Yeah, I use this as my new tour poster. So this one I have a third hand.
Yeah.
So this is me. It's funny. My friend who was in town, who is a Latina who lives in South Florida, she's like, "You look like a Latina from South Florida with a third hand." With a third hand. Now, that is a real feat of AI to get me to look like a Latina from South Florida. Like that is not easy to get my pasty self to look like that. But I guess I have a spray tan here, a little off the shoulder number, very conservative, wearing jeans here. So this is, and then there's a foot with some extra, it's like all big toes on the foot. And an extra hand. So I turned this into a tour poster. So come see me. Buffalo, Detroit, Milwaukee, you're up first. And if you ask nicely, I will bring my third hand. Now, here's my point. As you can see from these AI pictures, I hope you also subscribed to my YouTube channel while you were looking them up. As you can see from them, so much of how you look in life is your personality. Like when you look at, actually, Caitlin, can you pull up one of the ones that, the like Miss Perfect ones, and then one of the artsy ones side by side? I think this is such an interesting example of how you can take the same facial features, the same person, and when you express a different attitude behind it, it totally changes your appearance. And I think that this verifies what I'm always telling you guys. I will never not laugh at that one. I think it verifies what I'm telling you guys. Okay, so look at this. What's the timestamp here that they can look up on YouTube?
1:02:29. Okay.
1:02:29. Let's just say 1 hour and 2 minutes. Getting to the point here, an hour into the podcast. It's interesting that you have the same face on these two people. It is supposedly my face. And one of them just finished baking sourdough. And the other one is at the tattoo parlor right now to get some new tattoos to show to her OnlyFans subscribers. But it's the same face. It's just a different personality behind it. And neither one of them look anything like me because I have a different personality than both of these women. I think that it is an interesting thing to consider. And you might even want to get your own AI headshots. It's like $40. Like, do your own. And I think you'll see just how much your personality impacts what you really look like. I think that these AI pictures really show just how much your personality contributes to how people perceive you and your physical appearance. And I say that as a good thing, because when people find you to be quote unquote attractive, and I don't mean attractive in the dating sense. I mean, like a woman might say to a woman like, "Oh, she's a very attractive, she's a beautiful woman." When people think that about you, really, they are largely responding to your personality. They are largely responding to who you know yourself to be on the inside. And that is why, for those of you guys who are in a phase of life where you're looking in the mirror and you are not liking what you see, very relatable to me right now. Again, it's a little bit different if you did something stupid and now you're temporarily disfigured. But if you're just like, you've gained some weight, or you don't like the shape of your face, or you don't like your nose, or whatever, I cannot emphasize to you enough how much that is not what other people are noticing. That is not what they are responding to. And that is not what that is not mostly what they factor in when they consider you attractive. It is your essence. It is the attitude behind those physical traits. It is the attitude you bring to the 20 extra pounds. It is the attitude you bring to the nose that you don't like the way it's shaped. I mean, again, if you look at these pictures of me, the two different ones, you have the same body, the same face, the same hair, but just someone with a different attitude comes across totally differently. And I say all of this to get you guys to not beat up on yourselves about the way you look, because I think some of the time what's really bothering you is not as much the way your clothes are fitting or whatever. I think it's that you haven't fully embraced who you are. And when you do that, I think that you can start to feel a lot better about how you look, even if you're not making dramatic changes to your appearance. I think that you can start to transform the way you feel about how you look. And for those of you who are like, listen, I have been in the trenches of motherhood for so long, I don't know who I am, or maybe you're just young. I mean, if you're 20, you might not fully understand who you are just yet. But that's where I would say fake it. Fake it till you make it. Just try out. Just take some action. Just try speaking up, being bold. And you know what? It might fall apart. And you might pretty quickly realize, you know what? I'm not that person. Like I've told you guys before, for a while I was like, maybe I'm the encourager. Maybe I'm the one who should walk up to people and give them a compliment. And I'll get their gender wrong or something. You know, I mean, I've learned very quickly that that's not my calling in life. That's not who I'm supposed to be. But you don't find that stuff out until you fake it for a while. In fact, you know, they say fake it till you make it. I'm actually not sure there's another way to make it without faking it. Because if you've been in a season where, you know, or maybe you were in a crazy marriage situation, or in the trenches of motherhood, or you're just young, or for whatever reason, you just don't feel like you've really had the opportunity to figure out who you are. Is there a way to do it other than faking it? I don't think there is. I mean, you just have to put yourself out there and kind of try putting different versions of yourself out there. Try putting different facets of your personality out there and see what resonates, see what lands. And then you will figure out who you are. And then I promise you that even if your physical appearance has some elements you want to change, you will start feeling a lot more beautiful and a lot more comfortable in your own body when you at least feel like the personality behind this physical appearance, the mischievousness behind these eyes that you would see in a photo is there. And I know who that person is, and I'm fearlessly being myself. And therefore, I am giving other people permission to fearlessly be themselves. And when you can embrace that, you will instantly feel so much more beautiful and so hotter. And it really solves a lot of things. All right, speaking of faking it, I was honestly, like, I was about ready to just melt down and not even do this podcast episode today. So I faked it. I put my best foot forward. Felt like someone might need to hear some of this today. So I'm glad we got it done. And I will be back with you next week, maybe without a mask, here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.